thank you for joining us here in the studio at USCCB. This has been a big week for the USCCB, a lot going on. Let's start with the statement that the bishops put out on Monday regarding defunding Planned Parenthood and its coverage of abortion and gender transition care. What did the bishops have to say?
Fundamentally, if you remember nothing else about these statements or what you're reading about them, it is that the bishops are supportive of an investment in healthcare, but that abortion is not healthcare. And if we have limited dollars, let's redirect those dollars in a way that nourishes and supports life, saves lives.
Yeah, and speaking of nourishing and taking care of the poor and the vulnerable, the bishops also had a statement regarding the treatment of pregnant women in the care of Customs and Border Protection. What did they have to say on that issue?
Well, fundamentally, as you might imagine, the church is supportive of pregnant women. It's why we have our stance on abortion. And previously, for Customs and Border Protection, there was instruction in place just to take special care. Women who are pregnant are a vulnerable population, especially on the move along the border, subject to trafficking. It's a very stressful situation. And so it was really just a humane order that said, please take some extra care. And that was rescinded recently. And so it does make you worry about the type of support being provided and why we cannot be a compassionate nation and make sure that we are protecting the most vulnerable people.
Right, and continuing on this theme of protection for the poor, the vulnerable, the bishops had a lot to say about the budget, the big, beautiful bill that Congress is considering for funding the government. What were some themes that emerged?
How can we better support our brothers and sisters and provide resources to help? And the budget, as has been said previously, is really a moral document. What do we care about as a country? Where are we willing to put those precious resources? And so there are some very positive developments in the budget. There are some very worrisome developments in the budget. But at the end of the day, the lens through which the bishops are looking is, will the budget enhance and support the lives of especially our most vulnerable brothers and sisters, or is it going to create yet another obstacle in their life?
And people can learn more about this on the USCCB website. There's a lot of information on what the budget includes and where the bishops stand on that. Last but not least, there is a statement from the president of the USCCB on the 10-year anniversary of Laudato Si', which we all know was Pope Francis's landmark encyclical on care for our common home. What did the president of the USCCB want to convey?
I think he wanted to, again, call all of us back to that very important work, whether it's prayer, whether it's how we volunteer, whether it's our public policy objectives, to say, to sound cliche, we only have one planet, and how well we take care of that for future generations becomes very critical. And a lot of what you're seeing in terms of the environmental threats, there's something we can do to mitigate those, and there's something that we ought to be doing.
Okay, we really appreciate all that the bishops are doing to keep the faithful informed and involved on these important issues. You can learn more at the USCCB website, usccb.org.